What's going on, everybody? Chase on Two Wheels here at Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, Georgia. In front of us, we have the gorgeous 2023 Ducati Diavel. This one is special. It has got the V4 Gran Turismo engine in it. I love this engine and all the other things Ducati's putting it in. I cannot wait to ride a V4 Diavel. This is going to be an awesome day. Fun fact, a Diavel, or Diavel, whatever you want to call them, a Diavel is the highest viewed first ride of all time. Fun facts. All right, guys, it's a first ride. Let's see what this thing looks like, and let's see what it sounds like. Alrighty, guys, that's what the bike looks like and sounds like. Now, before we get started, this video is not sponsored, but it is supported by my website, wbrgarage.com, where we are currently building a 2018 Yamaha R6 into what we're going to call an R6M. It's going to be absolutely sick, and once we get done tricking that thing out, we are giving it away. If you guys want to win it, all you got to do is, you can do it as little as $5. Go over there, either get a membership, get a coffee mug, get a shirt, whatever you want. Anything you buy automatically gets you entries to win the bike. And when we get done building it, we could just be dropping it off at your house. So you guys go check out wbrgarage.com, get your entries to win that R6 while you can. And while you do that, I'm going to get this first ride started because I'm stoked. Alrighty, phone on the quad lock. I really wish I would have brought quad lock's new brake lever mount because it would have fit perfectly on this bike, but unfortunately I got to do this weird little sitch. Oh yeah, before I get my glove on, let me go ahead and turn this bike on. Keyless entry on this thing, but you gotta get your hand up in there. Ducati, I don't love this. You have it on your V2. It wasn't terrible on your V2, but I wasn't a huge fan. I definitely don't like it when it's like deep down in a crevice. Alrighty, dudes. Let's go. All right, guys, I'm 5'10". I got a 32-inch inseam, and as you can see, I've got extraordinarily bent legs on the Diavel. You shorter riders should definitely check this bike out. It will be absolutely fantastic for you. Now, before we get going, let's look at the modes we have. In order of most to least to most power, we've got wet, urban, touring, and sport. I'll start in wet. I'll get one block down the road, and then you guys will know we'll swap up through the gears and through the modes. All right, let's get this first ride going. You guys are here to watch me ride it, not talk. Well, I guess you are here for talking too. You're here for everything because you guys are awesome. If you guys are fans of Discord, by the way, we've got an awesome Discord server full of motorcycle enthusiasts, probably just like you. So definitely check it out. It's totally free to join and full of awesome people. I highly recommend it. I'm going to go. I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting. I'm on a Diavel. I got to go. BMW thought they were going to accelerate and get in, but they're not. Alrighty, guys. Today we're on the muscle of muscle cruisers, the Ducati Diavel with this new V4 power plant. This bike, it might look like a cruiser, but supposedly it rides like a really muscled out monster. Monsters being the naked bikes. What is that sound? I'm not the only one that heard that noise, right? We're gonna pretend that that sound didn't happen, even though I most certainly heard it. But anyways, guys, the Diavel is supposed to ride like a beefed up monster, not a cruiser at all, even though it very much does look like a muscly cruiser. Supposedly it would ride like a sporty thing, like a, I don't know, Sportster S or a Yamaha VMAX or something like that. You know, muscly cruisers. Also, these things are terrible. We're just gonna look past that for this first ride. Alrighty, guys, it's a first ride. Let's talk about the body position on this Diavel. My legs are in that kind of chair-y position, and my feet are slightly back. I got a pretty wide seat here, kind of middle of the road as far as comfort goes. It's definitely not uncomfortable. Let me get in this left lane before I run smack dab into a Tahoe. As far as my body position for my upper half is very much upright, slight lean forward, and my arms are kind of straight out in front of me. It's kind of a muscly cruiser vibe right now. I don't have necessarily forward controls because my feet are sitting underneath me, but it's a very comfortable body position right now. I feel like I've got good control. My hands are kind of wide out here. I like this position a lot, especially with how close my feet are to the ground. I can imagine a lot of street riding would allow me to very easily and quickly get my feet on the ground, which, you know, city riding, it sucks. You always got to stop at red lights, and like you have to do this move I'm about to do. Stop at the red light, come to a stop, get your feet down, and that transition from pegs to ground is fantastic. We're going to take this opportunity and say to heck with wet mode. Thank you for having wet mode. How much power low, power medium, power high? All right, cool. I'm done with power low. We're going to power medium. We're going to the touring mode. We are going to skip urban mode. So the mode area in touring, power mode medium, D, traction control 3, ABS 3, wheelie control 3, and quick shifter is on. Does have a quick shifter. We love it. We actually love it. Man, the bike's fans are already on. I think we're currently at like 97 today, and in Georgia we have like terrible humidity, so we are on a miserable day heat-wise, boys, so we're going to do our best. Hopefully the Diavel is not as hot as something like a Panigale. All right, so guys, we're in touring mode here on the Diavel. Let's talk about how it handles itself in the city. The city setting, obviously, speed a little lower down. You're doing a lot of maneuvering, and this is one of the areas that, for you guys that might own other Diavels and like haven't tried this one out, we are getting a pretty decent weight difference from the old Diavel. You're dropping a few pounds on this bike, and let me tell you, it is incredibly noticeable. Just moving this bike outside of mountain and through the other bikes in the dealership, I could already tell that this bike was lighter. And the second you get it on the road and you start moving it around, I would say you're going to be borderline shocked at how maneuverable this bike is and how much lighter it feels. I know it's lighter, but it's almost like they've changed like where the weight is on the bike, because it feels so much lighter than it used to, which is fantastic. The old Diavel, it was not the lightest motorcycle. It was I think in one of the Diavel first rides I did, I called it a whale. You know, like it's really planted, really stable, but to get it doing anything, you really got to muscle it around, which is not what you want a muscle cruiser to mean. This bike has changed a lot with that. So yeah, guys, back to what I was saying, city riding. Oh my God, this traffic is so bad today. This bike is so much lighter than I think most people are going to expect. It looks like a cruiser, but does not ride like a cruiser at all, which I love. I love that you can have the cruisy vibe, the relaxed body position. I'm kind of sitting in the motorcycle and my hands are up high, but you start leaning this bike around and you're like, what motorcycle am I on right now? Apparently, they've also geared this bike to have a shorter first gear, and I can definitely feel that. You get through first gear relatively quick, but then after that, it's kind of normaled out. The amount of power you have feels so good and controllable too. Every time I ride a V4 bike, like this thing's 1156cc if I remember correctly, that's a lot of motorcycle. And every time I ride one of these V4s, whether it's a Diavel, it's a Multistrada, a Panigale V4, I'm always surprised at how impressive the V4 platform, how rideable they are, because I don't think you would initially expect that. With 168, I think, horsepower and a 94 foot-pounds of torque, you are looking at so much power, and controlling that power is not easy. Ducati has done such a good job on this bike, and I'm excited for turning because it is a bigger bike. So let's see how she goes when we take a right-hander. Let's see if this first gear will get me through this turn. All right, let's go. First gear, how long are you? Oh, that sound is great. Oh my God, I love it. And this has got a stock exhaust, and it's got like stock exhaust, like the little minigun looking exhaust. And it sounds so good when you rev it out. Low fuel? Come on, man. Can a man not have fun? All right, let's see if we can get through this first try without getting any gas. This 40 to 80 pull is gonna now become a little sketchy. So yeah, guys, kind of chilling in traffic at traffic speeds. This bike, you're not gonna do that, right? Okay, cool, just all the way across. Ballsy move, but I appreciate the balls. This bike is so easily managed in traffic, and if you're not pushing it, it's totally content. Some Ducatis do not like being ridden if you're not, like, you know, riding them and like pushing the hell out of them. The Diavel is super chill. I'm in 5th gear going barely anything. It has no problem. All right, let's try this quick shifter down. Very composed. I'm honestly surprised at how compliant this thing is. Just chilling. So, with this bike being one of those muscle cruiser class bikes, I really kind of expected it to be real broody and not be that fun in the city, but that is entirely false. Like, this thing, if you're chill, I'm in touring mode. I could have been in urban mode and had even less power. Oh, wait, speaking of power, we got a highway entrance to get to, so let's put this baby in sport mode, which is power high. That's all you need to tell me. Let's see how she does a 40 to 80 pull, because the city was fantastic. I got high expectations. My expectations are just like the power level. High. Ha-ha! I'm sorry, guys. This is me, though. You know, you chose to watch this channel, and that comes with some consequences. Interestingly, I put the bike in sport mode, and it told me I have 3 more gallons before the tank is empty. Interesting. I imagine that 31 is going to get to the 20s really quick when we do this 40 to 80 pull. Now I've got 37. Is the bike just telling me I have more fuel than I actually do, just so I'll ride it harder? Alrighty, my friends, it is time to see how fast the Ducati Diavel will go from 40 to 80 thanks to our buddies over at Law Tigers. They are the motorcycle attorneys, and hopefully I stop around 80 because I don't want to get in trouble, but if I get in trouble, at least I got Law Tigers. You guys check them out in the description if you need a motorcycle lawyer. All right, guys, we got some space actually, so we can really do this correctly. We're gonna let that big truck go. How fast will this bike get from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour? Let's find out in 3, oh God, 2, 1. Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy shit! Woo shit! I was not ready. He was not ready for that one. What was that? I literally blinked and felt a little piece of brown in my pants, and everything just got blurry. My God, that was fast. And I lost 10 miles of range. Well, dang. Let's change this back into freaking touring mode. So hopefully we can get all the miles out of this bike. All right, guys, we're here on the highway. We have a lot of wind on us. Let me check. Wind's hitting me right in the chest. It's not bad, I would say, but you know, if you're gonna tour on this thing, definitely look into getting a windscreen. I'm sure Ducati's gonna make some sort of screen for this, so keep an eye out for that. I think that's the only mod you're really gonna need for highway riding, because Obviously, my God, the level of agility this bike still has going this fast is insane. Guys, this bike is so good on the highway. The only thing that sucks about it is the wind. It's got so much power. We all know this. We're not surprised by that. But the amount of agility is really what's surprising me, because it's a longer wheel-based bike, but it's incredibly stable, and I guess because of that weight savings, this thing is just so flicky left to right. Big thing, it is a muscle cruiser, I guess. So we're gonna turn cruise control on, and boom, we got cruise control. I am super comfortable here on the highway. I'm loving the seat right now. The seat is becoming a very big deal. Big question, can we disengage cruise control by doing throttle forward? We cannot. Well, that sucks. Ducati, how dare you please change that. That is one of my requests. I'm really surprised by this bike on the highway. Very smooth. I've got no real vibrations. Got a couple micro vibrations in my hands and my feet, but this engine is incredibly stable right now. If I had a windscreen on this just to deflect some of this wind, bro, I could do a tour on this thing. So guys, I'm going to finish up the highway here, and we're going to cut it to a little highway montage. Thanks to our buddies over at Cardo. Cardo, play me a highway montage on this beautiful Diavel. So guys, overall, I am way more impressed with the Diavel than I expected to be on the highway. Now, I didn't expect it to be bad, but this is far better of a tourer than I would have ever thought. So big props to Ducati on making a really agile cruiser bike feel great on the highway. Let's get it leaned over again, see what we feel. Little Mr. Arcadia just destroying this. I will say the weight feels a little low down and hard to really get leaned over. The bike doesn't have a problem high up and just doing like quick little moves, but when I really want to get it leaned over, I do feel a little bit of weight that I'm having to muscle around. No pun intended on that. Yeah, so when you get the bike way leaned over, I do feel a little bit of weight I'm having to pull around. Also, shout out to Cardo for sponsoring the First Ride series. Thanks to them, we've got an awesome little montage that you guys got to watch. If you guys need helmet Bluetooth though, like dead ass, the Cardo system for motorcycle helmet listening and communication is the top thing. I've got a discount code in the description for you guys. You guys know if I got a sponsorship, I do my best to get you guys a discount on it. We love Cardos here. Alright guys, let's talk about this engine. And this engine does something that is incredibly hard to do, and that is low down in the revs, you get very torquey, very pulley, fun power. And normally when you get torquey power like that, you get no top end. But if you're on like a super sport, you get no bottom end, which is torquey, and you get a very fast top end. This bike gives you a lot of torquey down low, and then when you work the revs all the way up, it then rewards you again with like a secondary blast of power. And that's what I responded to so much on the 40 to 80 pole. It initially punches you in the gut with the torque, but then that horsepower up top just continues to propel you forward. This thing is freaking awesome, and I am absolutely loving it. Speaking about the suspension, we do have adjustable front suspension and rear suspension, I believe. I've got no problems with the suspension. It's not been reacting any certain way. Maybe a little soft on the really big turn, but it's adjustable. You can dial it into your weight and what you're doing if you have bags or something like that. So what I'm looking for is that adjustable suspension, but right as it's set, maybe a little soft for me. The transmission has felt great. I almost enjoy that shorter front gear, that first gear being a little short. It gets me really fun and revved up before I like start going, and it just adds to the overall experience of the bike. Definitely loving that. This quick shifter also It's got a good bit of punch up front, and it's just so smooth. They have dialed that in very well. Overall, just the experience of riding this so far has been absolutely fantastic. I want to dial it in more. Yeah, see, now I'm having to pull the bike over a little bit, more than I really want to be. Let's get some brakes on. Brakes are smooth as hell. Quick shifter's good. God almighty. I might love this bike. I'm not sure. I like it. I just don't know if I absolutely am falling in love with it, because this might be the best Diavel I've ever ridden. All right, guys, looks like we're doing good in touring mode. So now we're back in like city setting. Let's go into urban, and let's try urban for the shits and gigs of it, you know? Urban mode, it's a mode that I never find myself using. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of these bikes with 4 modes where it's, you know, it's full power, it's wet, and then there's like a little middle one, which is, you know, normally called urban or touring. They kind of change names, but I don't ever find myself in the middle modes. I always find like I'll jump to wet mode, and then I'll go to sport mode or whatever the faster mode is. That's typically where I'm existing. You guys let me know in the comments. Do you guys typically chill in the middle modes? Alrighty, guys, let's talk about the controls up here. What do we got? We got 2 blacked out adjustable levers. That's all I'm looking for. The levers are a kind of slick metal material. They've got a good angle to them, but I do wish they were made out of something a little more grippy. I haven't really had a problem with them thus far, but, you know, if we're just talking about ways to make this thing better. Next up, we got the controls here. Very typical Ducati controls. We got the backlit modules here. I love those. I love the way they feel. They have a great tactile touch. For a motorcycle that's what, $27,000? Definitely necessary on that. Love seeing it though. Ducati has great controls. They always put good stuff on their bikes, and I appreciate that as a guy that, you know, I appreciate little things like that. The lever and the clutch both have a really good feel when you squeeze them. They're a little like, I would call it a medium pull. Definitely liking those. And the piece de resistance, the screen, the nice Ducati screen has finally made it to the Diavel. The last Diavel that I rode had the split screen where one of them was like that small thin screen, and then the other one was another thing. I'm not a fan of that. I love this screen. It's very subtle, it's very tucked in. The only thing I will say about this screen is I do wish it was angled back a little bit, so it was angled towards me as the rider. But as far as the way it looks and operates, I can give you guys a little close-up. It's very reminiscent of all the other screens on the other Ducati bikes. I love this screen. It's one of my more favorite screens out on the market right now, and I think Ducati is doing a fantastic job. And if you think that's good, if you start digging into the screen and like changing settings, and you see the little motorcycle with like the red engine when you're changing the engine power mode, it just makes sense. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you guys go ride these bikes and you're changing the settings and you start messing with stuff like that, you really appreciate that kind of stuff. So I love the fact that Ducati is doing that. One of the things I do, God, getting into neutral too, just an absolute easy peach. I mean, the bike's got 44 miles on it. It hasn't even been broken in yet, and the shifting is so good, man. I would not expect that. Speaking of broken in yet, I did want to mention that with this new V4 engine, so typically with Ducatis, they have a very expensive valve clearance job that they have to get done on. Do you guys know that you don't have to do a valve clearance job on this bike until like 37,000 miles? How freaking nuts is that? Also, oil changes every 9,000 miles. This is like a Ducati that you can actually afford to own, even though it's expensive up front. I mean, 26 grand ain't cheap, but having service intervals that far out, that's insane. It's almost like these are starting to get affordable now. That cost of ownership conversation with Ducatis is slowly drifting into the history books. So guys, we're gonna pull off here and do a little walk around of this Diavel. I also love the way it looks. I know you guys have been looking at that dope camera car footage, but we got to check it out. All right, 2023 Ducati Diavel V4. This is the blacked out model. There is a red one, and I think the black one might be the one to go with. You guys can see those Brembo brakes up front that are absolutely awesome. One of the cool things in the way they saved all the weight on this bike is they're going to that Panigale-esque vibe of the engine being a stress member of the motorcycle. So the frame is like this monocoque that's attached to the engine, and then the swing arm is actually attached to the engine as well. So that's how they're dropping a lot of the weight. This is the Gatling gun looking exhaust, which I think sounds great. I think it looks pretty cool too. I think it fits the overall vibe. And of course, we get this awesome single-sided swing arm. And you guys might be able to tell that giant rear tire, which is definitely one of the reasons that this bike is so hard to lean over, because you got so much profile on those on that rear tire. My favorite, oh no. We lost the 360.
No one's ever really gone.
RIP to losing the 360. Okay, oh, my favorite part about this bike overall, that tail section. So yeah, guys, that's the Diavel V4. I'm absolutely digging this bike. I love the seating position. This bike is a freaking package, and I'm totally freaking here for it. Love it long time. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to grab my phone, and I am going to film some stuff for our vertical friends over on TikTok and Instagram. So if you guys aren't following us, we're at Chaseontwowheels on TikTok, and we're at Pics on Instagram. Go check it out, and I'm going to film some stuff. Alrighty, guys, that's it for the vertical stuff. Now, the question is steering stem lock test, and is this bike a purchase or pass? That's what we got to find out. Alrighty, steering stem lock. Let's see what it's got. We're about halfway. That's a good 50 percentile. Not too bad. It is a cruiser, but I am surprised by the steering stem lock that this bike has. Now the big question is purchase or pass on this motorcycle. What do I prefer? Alrighty, guys, while we're talking about purchase or pass, I do want to try something out. Supposedly this bike has rear cylinder deactivation, so that if I'm going under 4,000, it will disengage the two cylinders towards me, and if I accelerate past 4,000, it will engage all cylinders. So we should be at 2 cylinders. Let's listen. All right, now I'm going to throttle up and see if we can hear a difference between the 2 and the 4 cylinder. Huh. Couldn't really hear anything. Maybe it's just like really subtle. All right, guys, so the Diavel. I have ridden every Diavel. I have enjoyed them to different levels, and I have to say, this Diavel, the one I am on, the V4, it's truly not even close. This is by far the best Ducati Diavel that brand has ever freaking made. The power delivery is the most fun. The screen I absolutely love. I love all of the rider aids. I think the things that are really selling me on this bike, I think they've nailed the body position finally. I think we finally have a good screen that I like. The power delivery is so fun. And most of all, the Diavel is now flicky and fun and controllable, and not the whale that it used to be. Ducati's been making this bike for quite a while now, so they've had time to iterate and make it better and better and better. And my goodness, have they made this bike absolutely incredible. Ducati gets a golf clap in the chat. I love this thing. This might be one of my top 3 favorite Ducatis. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's that good. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for this first ride. Big shout out to Mountain Motorsports. They're the dealership I started at. That's who let us loan this bike out to do this first ride. So make sure to check those guys out if you're looking for a bike in North Georgia. I will have a bike provided by link in the description down below. You guys can check those guys out, and big shout out to them for letting us loan the bike out. But anyways, guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you got this far, you're in the outro crew. You made it to the end of it. Put OC in your comment down below and let me know, guys, is this the Diavel that might finally make you pull the trigger on it? Because it is so much better than every other Diavel that I've ever ridden. It is like, this was a big jump. I expected it to be kind of big, but I did not expect it to be this big. This thing's awesome. You guys go out there and ride safe. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Thank you guys for riding around with me. I'll see you on the next one. Later.